Wonder if you had any stories from the set of Batman and Robin?
Well, my story is that I was kissed to death by Uma Thurman.
And that's all you need to say?
That's it. But I go and I take it further and I say she has a very long tongue. She would not take her tongue out of my mouth. I kept saying, Uma, get your tongue out of my mouth. I can't breathe. But that's all made up. She was...
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. John Glover.
Okay. Where's Snidey?
Just you.
Oh, just me.
Just you.
Oh, shit. Oh, I mean, I thought it was going to be...
No, so we can give me anything. We can talk about anything you want. Folks, if you have any questions at all, we ask that you stand in line in front of that microphone right there, and we'll get to you in a little bit. And we ask John some questions first. So first of all, welcome.
Well, thank you.
It's good to have you. Welcome to Western New York.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here. Now, I did a play here.
You did?
In 1960-something or other. It was the year that Bobby Kennedy got shot. After was 68? It was? Anyway, I was here doing the knack and how to get it at a theater, a regional theater here in Buffalo. Because I remember being in that old hotel, whatever what's called. But I had a grand time in Buffalo back in the 60s. And it was one of the first things, it was at the beginning of my career. And you know the song about Buffalo, right?
No, do tell.
I'll go home and get my panties. You'll go home and get your scandies. And away we'll go. Whoa, 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 off we're gonna shuffle off to Buffalo. Yeah, what's the next verse? And I forgot the verse. The second verse is we'll go. Here's the third verse. For a little silver quarter, you can get the Pullman Porter. Make the lights down low. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Off we're gonna shuffle off to Buffalo. That's your song. Now I want you all to learn it, and by the end of the thing, we'll be able to sing it together. Okay. You should know your song. It's your town, right? Okay. All right. So, I'm an actor. I was most people know me from what's that series called? Smallville or Little Town, and I was Michael Rosenbaum's daddy. And boy, I tell you, that was a trip. If you all know Michael or know about him. Yeah, he's something. He's a really talented guy and a lot of fun, although sometimes I just wanted to wring his throat, you know. He'd be messing around. Come on, we're doing this. But he was trying to be, because they sort of wrote it as at the beginning as just this bad father. But what I decided that I had a son who died, and so Lex was my great white hope, to be what to make him be powerful, but he had no spine. So all those things that I did to him were out of love to strengthen him, so he could be brave and a big, grown up, wonderful man. So it was all love, and the writers kind of picked up on what I was trying to do and helped me make him more human. Because people talk about that, that my Lionel Luthor is the best Lionel Luthor there is, but I was the only one. Right. So I had to be the best, but I could have been the worst too. But I don't think I was, because I was proud of what I did. Because I got the writers. They were keen from what I was doing, so they would help me, and it made me just feel full of joy and love.
Now, they say that a good villain doesn't think they're the villain of the story.
Of course not.
Was Lionel a villain in your view?
What?
Was Lionel a villain?
No.
No, of course not.
He was a loving father who was trying to make his son stronger. And he had to do those things. He had to have the electricity, whatever, the shock treatment, because it didn't work, but it was worth a try, I guess. And that was a good episode, yeah. When I shock treatment.
I worked the stage for many years. Was film and television on your radar at any point early in your career? You mentioned working here in Buffalo when you were younger. Was that, were you thinking, I'm going to be on TV one day?
I had my hopes.
Okay.
I mean, I grew up on TV.
Right.
I mean, I was born in 1944, and TV came out the late 40s, I guess, early 50s. And my dad, this was in Wilmington, Delaware. That's where I had my childhood, and then I went down to the Eastern Shore of Maryland. But my dad worked for Philco, and he was the distributor to all the places so we had a TV set before anybody else in the neighborhood. I tell you, I had so many friends, my dad would I have to crawl over bodies of the little children to get to the kitchen or upstairs to the bathroom. There were so many, but as people I lost all my friends. Everybody got a TV set of their own. They didn't need me anymore. So it was like when I was doing the Gremlins to the two and all the puppeteers. It took about 10 people to do those things, because their eyebrows would move and everything. And we'd sort of play together before, and then we'd shoot the scene, and then all of a sudden they all died. Because the puppeteers had to take a break, so all the little, they just died. It was so sad until I thought, well, why aren't they playing with me anymore? Because they had to take a break, let's do the next scene. But I guess it started with TV. I remember there was a movie. I can't remember. My God, I'm about to turn 80. And August 7th is my birthday, and I'm going to turn 80 years old. And everybody said, well, you don't look like you're going to be 80 years old, but up here in this brain, there are things that I used to know that I can't remember anymore. It's like a lot of these strings hanging out with a lot of words and names and everything on them, and I'm sort of groping to find the right piece of paper that has the word I need or whatever. So... Now, I don't think we should talk politics in this day, because there are some people might be... No. Okay, never mind. But I do know if there were a Gremlins 3, Daniel Clamp would be president. And so, in case you wonder why I'm... Oh, never mind. Never you mind. No, we know. We just want to pick the... person who is going to keep our democracy. We have to think about that. Some people say, well, I don't like either one of them. But if you don't vote, your vote is probably going to be for the one person who will not keep our democracy. So, but we're not. Okay. Change the subject.
Well, let's talk about your career a little bit. You jump back again. We had an early film role in Annie Hall.
Oh yeah, I was Touch My Heart.
Yes,
he was going to cut that line because I don't know if you know Annie Hall, but I was dating her, and I was doing a play at the time for up in Boston. So I got the offer of this job because I'd met. What's his face? The director.
Woody Allen?
Woody Allen, yeah. See, names. They're the first to go. And so I took the train down from Boston to New York, and in my mailbox there was this scene that I had to learn, and I was and it was before Woody Allen movies were sort of kooky,
right.
Really, they weren't about real human beings. It was stuff. So I was sort of with Diane Keaton. I was kind of doing, said, in my life, I want to be torn apart by wild animals and stuff like that. And he said, no. You should touch her more and sort of stroke her. So, not badly stroke, but touch her like that and stuff. So I did all that, and then they realized that there was going to be a split screen. So when we were supposed to be down on the floor, on those things that with grass in them or on the floor, he said, "Well, you can just cut that line about touch my heart. It was touch my heart with your foot." Because we weren't down on the things, and I said, no, we could keep it because then I showed him, and I said, I'll touch you, and then I say, touch my heart with your foot, and I sort of slide down the thing like I'm going down on the floor. So it became a big thing. I mean, I was touch my heart with your foot for a while. Known and then some there was was that what how.
Do you have a list of my movies?
Not all of them, right?
But I can't remember what I had, but it was John Frankenheimer, who was a big director then, made a movie called 52 Pickup. And his wife had seen me in whatever this other movie was and said, oh, that guy that you're trying to cast as the villain in this 52 Pickup, you should use this guy, John Glover. So he gave me the part, and it was I called my dad to tell him that I'd been offered this movie, a real good part in it. And I said 52 Pickup, and he went, Elmore Leonard. Elmore Leonard wrote that. That's he was a great writer, and he was great with dialogue. And I found a copy of the book, and I just read it and read it and read it until I got so that I was in his pants. There was an actress, Lorette Taylor, that was a really, back when. And when she got a character right, she used to say I'm in her pants. I'm in her pants. And that meant, she had become the thing. So I got so that Alan Ramey, I got in his pants. I was in his pants, and I understood him, and I had a ball playing. And my joke is that Anne Margaret, you all know who Anne Margaret is. I've touched every part of Anne Margaret there is to touch by playing that role, and she was so sweet to me. She came. We had a table read. And I was doing my villain, which I used a Baltimore accent for. I don't know if you know what a Baltimore accent sounds like. It's Baltimore, and you say like that, and you sound like you're a little retarded when you use the Baltimore accent. But I decided to use it for that character because that would make it even more dangerous. If he sort of thought, he had that mindset, it was like that. It sounded so stupid. But he was really so smart and evil. But he just had this. Well, anyway. But I had a ball with it, and Anne Margaret said when we did this table read, she came up to me and she said, John, I'm not a trained actor. I was really a dancer and a singer. So when we're, off not working and everything, could you just keep staying in character all the time? And I was so excited to work with her that I thought I'd get to know her and I could be friends with Anne Margaret. But she made me be the villain all the time. So she wasn't about to trust me for anything, I don't think, because I was so bad to her in this character, not to her. Because I loved Anne Margaret.
Is that a kind of role you can stick your teeth into? What kind of roles do you like? Do you want villainous roles? Do you want one that's a little more?
Well, the villainous roles are they're very active roles, right? Because they sort of move the story of the play along. So they're more interesting.
Sure.
I mean, because I try and make them human beings as opposed to your stereotypical villain, that are. Like, it was the same thing when I did the Batman animated. I thought I was doing a Saturday morning cartoon for children. So I was having a ball, just being the Riddler, and I mean the material was so great that I just sort of flew it off. So it wasn't until I started doing the Comic-Cons that I realized how important this series, the best Batman series, is to so many families,
right,
who learn from it. See, I want to. I cry a lot now. I don't know why, but I mean, I think that they're, I wanted to be an actor since I was always the movies that were about being in the movies or being on the stage and everything were the ones I loved, and I was very insecure as a little boy because I was different from the other little boys. I wasn't. My dad taught me to throw a softball really good. I could bat really good. Excuse me. He was captain of the University of Delaware football team. So he was, and my mother's really athletic, and so he taught me how to do things, but I just wasn't interested in that. I was picked on. I was a sissy. I wasn't into sports and stuff. So I felt like I had to hide who I was. I didn't know who I was, but I was just uncomfortable around a lot of people that I grew up with. But we used to do the junior class play and the senior class play, and we had our theater was in the cafeteria. It was a theater in the round and everything, and they sort of did a little program that was the importance of being earnest, and I had the lead in it or whatever. I was changing scenery in Lilium, which was a dark play, but so I wore all black, and I had a black derby hat. It was a sort of a period piece, and I would change the sort of the props and the cereal. That there was a chair here, I'd come out and move the furniture around. And the way I was moving around, I started getting laughs. I mean, the lights would dim, and I would come on and start changing the set. And by the second run, I was getting really big laughs changing the scenery. And I thought that the drama teacher was going to kill me. And she came up to me, and I was ready for this beating. And she said, "Okay, John, next year we're doing the senior class play, and you're going to play the lead." So I got my courage as a person back. I thought I can be other people. And so I decided, I thought, well, I should be an actor then, because I'm much more comfortable being other people than I am still. I mean, still there's that less than in me that I talk to therapists about, how to get rid of I am less than because I'm not like the other little boys. But
so you won a Tony for being other people.
Two other people.
Yeah. Two other people.
Terrence McNally wrote a book, a thing called Love, Valor, Compassion, a play that we made a movie of, and there were a set of twins in it, and one twin was sort of very uptight about who he was, and he was like snotty and whatever, and he had a twin brother, who was just love, who radiated love out to everywhere that everybody loved. So I played with very little costume changing and everything, and no makeup changing, both characters, and I defined them. For some reason, I understood both of them. I feel like I tell these stories and I get moved myself, and then I start weeping, and it's so embarrassing.
Not at all.
Oh, all right. Okay. So anyway, I won a Tony Award for this thing, and it was it was amazing. And I've been nominated for 5 Emmys, but I've never won. I see always the bridesmaid. Yeah.
How did you feel with the film? Do you think it translated well from the stage to the screen?
It was not as good. It's not near as good.
Well, they made a lot of changes, and there's no talking to the audience.
But they could have.
Yeah.
Because it was if it had, there are movies where the character looks out at the camera and talks to them, and that could have made it a more interesting film, I think, because it takes place around a house, and on the stage, of course, they just made a little doll's house. But in the movie, you saw the house, and you what you had of imagined. It was the movie. You didn't need an imagination. In the play, your mind started working, and everybody picked a house that they knew, and they personalized it. So I think the play was much more moving than the movie was moving. I mean, moving the audience to grasp the story and care about the people.
Oh, I will say this. I saw the film having never seen the play, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Okay, but the play was better.
I've seen clips, and you were incredible for what I saw.
I like this man. So glad they got him to do this.
Do we have any questions? Anyone have any? Everyone get in line beyond the thing. We'll take some questions for the audience here. Go ahead.
Hi, I grew up with watching Smallville and you as Lionel Luthor, but I also remember you from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, if anybody remembers you as the
I used to
Krill.
Jokingly, Deep Dish Nine.
As your portrayal of Lionel Luthor, to the fans who grew up with you, what would you like them to take away from as like a lesson from Lionel, from the character? Would you like them to take away as a life lesson that they can take back and learn from?
Well, I mean, he learned a lot from Martha, Annette O'Toole. I knew Annette before, but then we started when Schneidy died. When they got him off the show, so Martha and Lionel sort of started. I thought they were going to get married at one point in the show, which would have been very strange. But I just try to make people that I play human. So, and if the part has a change in it, Lionel was changed by Martha. She softened him and gave him a heart, or made him open up his heart to be different than this strict. But I was trying to be human before that too. But Martha came and there was another thing. And I wish they'd kept me a little longer, but my contract was up and they were going to have to renegotiate me. So instead of giving me a little raise, they just killed me. And I don't know anything about the financiality of Smallville, but I would have loved to have stayed a little longer in the town.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
Hi, my question is, which do you like better, voice acting or physical acting?
Physical. The Riddler thing was I can't do different voices, and I'm not so. That's why I also sing off key. So yeah, it's tricky, because I love musicals, but I don't get really a chance to be in them, because the good parts are you got to have a song. So. Make a fool of yourself.
Just remembered some more questions. Seamus was your first movie. Well, what was it like to work with Burt Reynolds and Diane Cannon? And the second one was, what was it like to work with John Carpenter in The Mouth of Madness?
John Carpenter in The Mouth of Madness, when I
Saperstein.
Well, yeah, my first day on the set, he came up to me and he said, "I didn't want you for this part."
Really?
He kept me, but he didn't. I mean, he just said that to me, and I told this. What's his wife's name? Adrienne Barbeau. We became friends because of one of these things, and I told her that story about her husband, and she said, "Oh my God, that man! Oh dear." I mean, I guess he was just like that. But I think I did good work in it. I mean, I didn't let that bother me, because but I don't know. I don't even know if I saw the movie. Was I good in it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
What about Burt Reynolds and Diane Cannon?
Well, Seamus. Yeah, Seamus. I never saw Diane Cannon on the set. I mean, I had nothing with her, but he said to Buzz Kulik, I think he directed it, and he said, "Look, Buzz, I'm gunning this. There was written as a gunning him down. I'm gunning this person. I'm gunning that person." And so they came up with the idea. There was an old trash can, and he was chasing me. And what he does is when he catches me, well, they had emptied a pot of the top of the trash with Dinty Moore's beef stew. So he grabbed me by the back of the hair and pushed my face into the stuff. So in the middle of the scene, you can see a lima bean kind of sliding down my cheek. I think that was the movie that John Frankenheimer's wife saw me in and suggested that I play Alan Ramey in 52 Pickup. So I thank you for remembering that was my thing. What was it called again? Seamus. Okay. All right. So it was Burt Reynolds. I don't know if he came up with the solution. Yeah, but Burt Reynolds was the one that said, "I don't want to just do the gun." So I don't know who came up with the Dinty Moore's beef stew, but I'd like to thank them for it. But I still don't like lima beans.
I grew up knowing you as Lionel Luthor on Smallville, and then knowing your voice as the Riddler and Batman.
Well, you must have been very confused about what.
Yeah, I had heard your voice in so many different things, and it was like crazy hearing a different project. And then I saw you in Shazam, the first one. Do you think we'll see you in another comic project in the future?
Comic, not comic, but a couple of years ago, I did it. Did anybody here see The Purge?
Yeah,
those movies, The Purge. Well, that's James. James. Anyway, he's the writer and the director of that. Mm-hmm. He wrote a movie, and I was in it. Called The Home. It's about an old age home. I made it. I was a resident. I was an off-Broadway actor. I play an off-Broadway actor who is a resident of the home, who has an acting class for the other residents that live in the home. And then the movie starts to shift and become sort of Purge-like. Mm-hmm. And I think they're sort of calling it a kind of a horror story. I don't want to give anything away, but...
Has it been released?
No. Okay. I think it's going to be released in March.
Nice.
So, which is they've made a trailer for it, and somebody, I think it was Byron, said they usually do the trailers about maybe 8 months or before the movie. So, I mean, I keep waiting for, and I hear
maybe the next month.
No one
can see it. No trailer.
March.
Oh, no, I mean trailer.
Oh, the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope you're right.
I'll keep an eye out for it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. But look out for The Home. When The Home comes around, and I play a very interesting. I had a ball with it. It was Pete Davidson was the lead in it.
Oh wow!
Oh wow! Okay. Oh wow! Oh wow! Oh, shake your titties! Oh. I shouldn't have done that. Are there any children here or anything that it shouldn't? Okay.
Hi. How are you?
I'm at a con. It's like when you get a shot of adrenaline or something. This is like getting a shot of ego.
Yeah.
I come and people tell me that they love my work. They have known about me for this, that, and the other, and it feels really good. I have a job now. I mean, I kept thinking, is my career over? But you know that show, Sex and the City?
Yeah.
And then there's Just Like That.
Right.
Anybody watch Just Like That? Okay, but I got 2 episodes on that show. So I play an asshole. A realtor who's an asshole. But it's fun, and the guy is great, the producer. I was having trouble with a big long speech that I knew that I had learned. And when it came time to shoot it, I just got scared that I was I would fight for stuff. So because I got nervous, I was having trouble with the words and everything. And the director kept saying the director was the guy that created it, Michael. Three names, Michael. And he came. I was sitting there. We had a break, and I was looking at the lines, trying to get them in my head. And he came over and sort of sat down on the other side of the windowsill, and he said, "John, let's read the scene together, you and me." And the thing, so for about 5 or 6 times, we read the scene, and all of a sudden, I knew it. He said, "Come on, let's go shoot it now." And we shot it, and it worked. I've never had a director be that generous to me before. I mean, it was so beautiful what he did. He understood. He just was so generous to me. It's very scary. I've never been 80 before. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's somebody, my next door, across the street neighbor, person that lives across the street is your neighbor. Howdy, neighbor. How's your harvest? That's Judy Garland from the movie she sang. But she said, John, okay, because she heard me. My husband and I were having a fight. And I said, I'm going to be 80 years old. Don't you understand that? She said, she heard me because we were out the door. And she was saying, John, when you turn 50, you're still going up. When you turn 60, you're still going up. When you're 70, you're still going up. When you get to 80, things are you lose things. You start losing things out of your brain. So it's just no, it's not you. It's the age. And there's a certain age when our bodies change. And so I'm trying to look at this in a positive way, that here I am at these cons telling my stories that I hear. I mean, a couple of guys, when I talked to them, what I felt when I started doing the cons, I felt like a whore slut. I mean, I would sign my name and you would give me $50, and I think, what am I doing? I don't want to be a person like this. But I went home with a bit of money in my hand, and I wasn't working that often, and that helped. And I thought, well, and then I said, I'll give of myself to all of you. And so when you come up, and I'm trying to talk to people and find out who they are and what they want to be. And a lot of people, several young men here today, where I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they sort of bush around like, well, a teacher. And I went to a teacher's college. That's what I was going to be, the teacher that directed the class plays, But my mother made a phone call to a theater company that was down in Virginia, the Barter Theater, a famous thing that was started when there was nobody had money. That they would barter they would bring a pig, and that would be their ticket price. A pig, they bring a dozen eggs to get in so they could see the play. So they bartered their way in. And I worked with actors from New York. I got the first year I was there, I got the lead in Look Homeward Angel, and playing it with New York actors. And I thought, my golly, I don't think I have to be a teacher. I could be an actor. And I said to these guys that were sort of going around with the same thing, like I was. I said, look, why? I think you want to be an actor, or an actor and a singer. And they said, yeah. But I said, follow your dream. Follow your dream. That's what I did. I followed my dream. And I feel like I influenced these young men to go for what they really thought was in their heart to be. So we'll see what happens. Are any of those guys there here today? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I will say this, Joe. We haven't gotten to the gentleman's question yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so I just talk.
What was it like doing Star Trek and Deep Space Nine, playing a character like a Trill?
Well, I was stealing the Dax, but I can't remember what the actress's name is that was with me, but it was sort of pulling it in and out of the bodies. We laughed a lot because it was so like that. It was like we were having sex together.
Terry Farrell. That's Terry Farrell.
And she's beautiful. Yeah. But we were laughing our heads off about that. Who was going to stick what in who? So there are no youngsters here, are there? Promise me. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, so we had a ball. I thought, and I could learn my lines like that. I could read it once and I knew the lines. I used to have a beautiful brain.
Did you like working on Gremlins, and have they contacted you to be in the cartoon?
They're doing a cartoon?
Yeah, they've already done one season.
They did?
Yeah.
It's a prequel about
well, I had no idea. I thought there should be a Gremlins 3 when Daniel Clamp is the president.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to, when I get home, I'm going to call, what's his face, and tell him that he should do that. If I can remember his name.
Thank
you. Thank you.
Hello.
Well, you'd be an actor good because you carry your voice. Right? You have a question?
Yes.
What be it?
What's your favorite episode of Smallville that you ever did? Do you remember?
The hardest was when I had to be Clark and he had to be me.
I was actually going to ask you that question. What was that like?
Because Mike,
because you were in prison at that time, your character Lionel. You were stabbed.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I remember none of this. But my not Michael, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom sort of had certain mannerisms. But Tom himself as Clark, because he was so beautiful, basically really did nothing. I mean, he did it with his eyes. So I was used to, having this do this with my mouth, and he would do that. So I'd watch him be me, and I'd think, I don't know how to be him. I'm so used to being busy when I act, and so it took a while. What do you think? Did I do a good job?
That was a good episode.
Okay. You like it?
Yeah.
But what about my performance? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Your performance is good, Jack.
All right.
Don't worry.
That's enough. Okay, you can go back to your seat now.
Thank you, sir.
I just had wondered if you had any stories from the set of Batman and Robin.
Well, my story is that I was kissed to death by Uma Thurman,
and that's all you need to say.
That's it. But I go and I take it further, and I say she has a very long tongue. She would not take her tongue out of my mouth. I kept saying, Uma, get your tongue out of my mouth. I can't breathe. But that's all made up. She was.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Hi.
So what did you think of Jim Carrey's performance as the Riddler?
I didn't see it.
Really? I'm actually a little shocked by that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I heard he's very good.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir.
Not as good as me.
Obviously.
No, somebody just told me this story today about who knew the real one, who said, who was that? Had said to him that John Glover did the voice, is the iconic.
Oh, there you go.
Riddler.
Very nice.
And that was him who said that.
Yeah.
He was very generous of it. I don't think he does the cons.
Mm-hmm.
He was the what?
What's your question, dear?
How did you like working on Fear, and who did you like working with the best on Fear the Walking Dead?
Fear the Walking Dead, that was Teddy.
Mm-hmm.
He liked little girls. And there was a little girl in there that I basically worked with. And then there was a Canadian actress who was, what was her name? I just remember she was so, she just knew how to work a camera, and I envied her, because she was a good screen actor. But I don't think I saw it.
Really?
That's gonna be the case. There's a lot of stuff you probably haven't. You can't watch all of your stuff, right?
Well, it's not. It's as I'm older, I'm uncomfortable watching myself.
Sure.
When I was younger, I loved to watch myself.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference was, whether it was ignorance or ego. Who knows? When ignorance is bliss, 'tis folly to be wise. Which is, don't take that for granted. No, that's a no.
Your Teddy role is probably my favorite.
Is it?
Yeah, over Lion.
I had a wonderful time doing Teddy because he was really bad.
Yeah.
But there was a style to him, though. I mean, I picked out I want to say, Meryl Streep, what she called a cocksucker suit. But I picked out a seersucker suit for him to wear. I suggested that instead of, so he wore a suit. I wanted to make him sort of with a certain elegance. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
But, well, Smallville. Yeah, now I know you on Walking Dead. Would you do any more Walking Dead or anything like Walking Dead ever again?
Sure. But I think they killed me, didn't they? But that character. But villains are great roles because, like I said, they move the action along. So and they're complex. They're not just if you can find the humanity in them. I mean, the humanness. I mean, they don't have to be, but they're the really good roles, the villains.
Okay, villains. What actors would you like to work with next?
Oh.
Who you haven't worked with?
Oh. Well, I have a good time with everybody. I mean, I loved working with Annette. I loved working with Michael. Diane Keaton was a sort of aloof.
Yeah, like.
There's an actress named Lee Remick. Probably most of you are too young to remember Lee Remick, but I played a real slime ball with her. It was a mini series, but we became very good friends. She let me in. Mm-hmm. She was the one sort of movie star woman that let me opened up to me.
Do you only portray villains?
No, I like to play heroes too. Mm-hmm. Just an interesting, somebody that's interesting. Yeah.
Interesting.
Thank you, Jerry. Well, we got one more question, and then we're all set here.
So Scrooged is one of the beloved Christmas classics, and I was wondering if you had any fun stories from the movie Scrooged.
What was the movie I did about the chocolate war? Chocolate Wars that Keith Gordon had directed. I wore a belt in Scrooged that cost more than the salary I made making the Chocolate War. So just a belt.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable. But Bill Murray was a lot of fun. There was this one scene where we had to walk across a big, long sound stage, right. And they had written, there was no dialogue, and I didn't know what to do. And I came up with some line, and he said, well, that's sort of so a cliche. So he came up with a line, and we walked across the stage, and I can't remember what the line was, but just before the elevator door was closing, I said the line to him, which was a line that completely threw his character into chaos. So I just waited for the door to close and then said it, and I could see him sort to go like that. So I mean, he was very generous to me too. Yeah, he was a doll to work with.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Real. Yeah.
Well, John, we've taken up enough of your time. You've got to go.
I love talking.
If you want,
I thank you all for coming.
Please welcome and thanks for John. And go see him at his booth.
This is John Glover, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Lionel Luthor recommends it. Have some fun. Follow your fandom.